On GBPCHF daily time frame, price is currently sitting around support. As you can see, we have many rejections from it, so we'll be looking for objective buy setups on lower time frames. Unless price breaks it downward aggressively, then our support would become resistance, and we'll be looking for objective sell setups on retest. For now, our green zone is acting as support, so let's zoom into lower time frames and look for potential buy opportunities. As you can see here, price is currently trading inside this blue channel, so we are overall bearish and it's not a good time to buy just uh, yet. We will be waiting for the buyers to prove to us that they are taking over. So we'll be waiting for a momentum candle close above this head and shoulders neckline to enter buy, and as usual, when the buy is activated, our stop loss would be just below the right shoulder in this case, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which would be around our upper red support. And as price approaches our upper red resistance, we'll be looking for sell setups on lower time frames, and if price approaches our lower support, we will be looking for new buy setups on lower time frames. For now, as mentioned before, we'll be waiting for a momentum candle close above this gray area to buy GBPCHF long term. On AUDCHF daily time frame, price broke below our support, as you can see from here and here, so it's now acting as resistance, and since price is approaching it, we'll be looking for objective sell setups on lower time frames. If we zoom into H4 time frame, we can see that from medium term perspective, AUDCHF is overall bearish, making lower lows and lower highs, and as mentioned before, price is currently approaching our resistance, and in this case, it's a trend following setup as prices are also approaching our upper blue trend line. If we zoom into to H1 time frame, we can see that AUDCHF is currently trading inside this channel. It's not valid yet, so we'll be waiting for a third swing to form around our lower red trend line to consider it valid, and then we'll enter sell after a momentum candle close below it. And as usual, when the sell is activated, our stop loss would be just above the last swing high or last red dot for those who have RichTL, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Here we go. And meanwhile, until our sell is activated, AUDCHF would be overall bullish, and a movement till our resistance and blue trend line would be expected. On Euro AUD H4 timeframe, this pair is overall bullish, making higher highs and higher lows, trading inside this blue channel, as you can see. So we'll be looking for objective trend following buy setups on lower time frames. Unless price breaks below our lower blue trend line objectively, then we'll sell Euro AUD long term if price can reach 1 hour before reaching this 1.63 support. Meanwhile, as mentioned before, we are overall bullish here, and let's zoom to lower time frames and look for potential buy setups. As you can see, this one is overall bearish from a short-term perspective, making lower lows and lower highs on M30 time frame, forming this red channel. So we'll be waiting for a third swing to form around our upper red trend line to consider it valid, and then we'll enter after a momentum candle close above this last swing as a trend following buy setup. And as usual, when the buy is activated, our stop loss will be just below the last swing low, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Best of luck. On AUDNZD daily time frame, price is still sitting around support, so we are still looking for buy setups on lower time frames. Unless price breaks it downward aggressively, then our support would become resistance, and we'll be looking for objective sell setups on retest. For now, price is sitting around support, so let's zoom into lower time frames and look for potential buy opportunities. As you can see from a short-term perspective, this one is still overall bearish, trading inside this red trend line, so it's not a good time to buy just yet. We always wait for a shift in momentum. We want the buyers to take control. So for now, as you can see, this one is forming an inverse head and shoulders pattern. It is objective on M30 time frame. So, and it's still an idea. So we'll be waiting for the right shoulder to fall and then enter after a momentum candle close above the neckline, as you can see in gray. And even if price didn't form the head and shoulders pattern, we would still enter buy after a momentum candle close, as it is the last swing of this red trend line. And as usual, when the buy is activated, our stop loss would be just below the right shoulder in this case, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which would be around our upper green rejection level. Best of luck. On GBPCAD daily time frame, as expected, price rejected our lower support and traded higher. For now, price is sitting around resistance, so we'll be looking for objective sell setups on lower time frames, knowing that price can still test our upper resistance to get more liquidity to be able to push price lower. For now, price is sitting around resistance, so let's zoom into lower time frames and look for potential sell opportunities. As you can see here, price is forming a wedge pattern, so we'll be waiting for a third swing to form around our lower red trend line to consider it our trigger swing, and then we'll enter sell after a momentum candle close below it. When the sell is activated, our stop loss would be just above the last red dot or last swing high for those who don't have RichTL, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which would be around our lower support. For now, until our sell is activated, GBPCAD would be overall bullish and can still test our upper resistance, as you can see in blue, before going downwards. Best of luck. On USDCAD daily time frame, as expected, price rejected our lower support and traded higher. For now, price is currently sitting around resistance, as you can see in blue, many rejections from it. So we'll be looking for objective sell setups on lower time frames. Unless price breaks it upward aggressively, then our resistance would become support, and we'll be looking for objective buy setups on 3 test. For now, price is sitting around resistance, so let's zoom into lower time frames and look for potential sell opportunities. As you can see, price formed a head and shoulders pattern, and as usual, our entry would be after a momentum candle close below its neckline, which covers the entire structure. And when the sell is activated, our stop loss would be just above the right shoulder, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Meanwhile, USD CAD would be overall bullish and can still test our upper resistance one more time before going downward. In this case, we'll be looking for new sell setups to fall. On USDCZK weekly time frame, price is currently sitting around a strong resistance, as you can see in green. So we'll be looking for objective sell setups on lower time frames. Unless price breaks it upward aggressively, then our resistance would become support, and we'll be looking for objective buy setups on 3 test. For now, our zone is acting as resistance, so we'll zoom into lower time frames and look for potential sell opportunities. As you can see here, USDCZK is overall bullish, making higher highs and higher lows, trading inside this blue channel. However, price is currently sitting around resistance and around our upper blue trend line. So as mentioned before, we'll be looking for objective sell setups on lower time frames. If we zoom into M30 time frame, we can see that we do have this trend line. It's not valid yet, so as usual, we'll be waiting for a third swing to form around it to consider it valid, and then we'll enter sell after a momentum candle close below this swing. And as usual, when the sell is activated, our stop loss would be just above the last swing from the other side, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which would be around our lower blue trend line. Best of luck. On Bitcoin weekly time frame, price is currently sitting around a strong resistance and supply zone. So we'll be looking for objective sell setups on lower time frames. Unless price breaks it upward aggressively, then our resistance would become support, and we'll be looking for objective buy setups on 3 tests. For now, price is sitting around resistance, and if we zoom into daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin is overall bullish. However, price is currently sitting around resistance and this upper purple trend line, which acts as an overbought area. So we can expect a movement per our lower purple trend line. If we zoom into H1 time frame, we can see that we already have a valid trend line. So we'll be waiting for a momentum candle close below the last swing. And as usual, if price forms a new swing around our trend line, it will be considered as our new trigger swing and will sell after a momentum candle close below it. For now, as you can see, we also have a head and shoulders pattern. It's still forming, it's still an idea. So we'll be waiting for the right shoulder to fall and then enter on the neckline break downward. But this way, our stop loss would be bigger, but it's recommended for conservative traders. Or as mentioned before, we'll be waiting for a new swing to form around our lower red trend line to consider it our new last swing, and then we'll enter sell after a momentum candle close below it. And as usual, when the sell is activated like this, our stop loss would be just above the last swing from the other side, and we target a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, which would be, here we go, we'll enter a sell trade, and our stop loss, as mentioned before, would be above the right shoulder, and we target a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And if we will wait for our neckline to get activated, to get the sell activated, our stop loss will be around here as well, and we target 2-to-1 risk to reward, which would be around our lower purple trend line. Best of luck.